Hello YouTube and welcome to my review of Amazing Spider-Man number 10, Volume 7. We're going to get into spoilers, so if you don't want to be spoiled, here's your warning. Let's take a look at the creative team. We've got writer Joe Kelly and guest artist Michael Dowling. The issue opens up with a flashback, the same type we saw last issue. This may be a hint at where we're going with the story, and we'll talk more about that later. We then cut to Spider-Man picking up where we left off last issue. Spidey's wearing different web shooters and has an interesting red tint to his eyes. He's laying down the smackdown on the aftershocks. Robbie and Shay look on, and Robbie is calling someone for help. Spider-Man seems extra feisty as he applies an extra kick to the head of an already downed aftershock member. Another one of the aftershocks hits Spidey and sends him crashing into a car. Interesting that there was no spider sense warning there. Just when the aftershocks get the upper hand, Captain Kitsugi arrives to help Spider-Man. Spider-Man tells the captain to get down, and he webs up the aftershocks. Captain Kitsugi questions whether the aftershocks can breathe in the Spider-Man's webbing. We then cut to Felicia Hardy, Black Cat, who's working out and listening to Jay Jonah's podcast, who doesn't have very nice things to say about Spider-Man's behavior as of late. We then cut to Peter walking to work when Tombstone comes calling. Tombstone asks Peter to get into his car, and Peter refuses. As Tombstone's goon insists, Peter breaks his nose. Peter makes it clear to Tombstone that he is out of the messenger business between Tombstone and Spider-Man. As Peter walks away, we see Black Cat following him. Peter arrives at work and he's acting a little out of sorts, being loud and correcting Brian's work in front of their boss. The boss does like Peter's work and asks him to cover for her as she deals with a personal matter. We then cut to Peter leaving work and talking on the phone, and it appears he is making dinner plans with someone when the Shocker attacks again. Again, no spider sense, or at least as we look at this panel, it went off, but there was no reaction. Shocker moves in for another blast when he slips on a can. Black Cat arrives and brings some of her bad luck along. The two fight, and eventually the Shocker gets the upper hand. This was enough time for Peter to change into his Spidey suit. Spider-Man deals with Shocker. Felicia stops Spider-Man for going just a little bit too far. Spider-Man tells the Black Cat that he was wrong, and he swings away. We see a montage of panels, and Spider-Man thinks to himself, when you lose sight of boundaries, the core of yourself still remains, your true self that you keep hidden away. Spider-Man delivers a beaten Shocker to Tombstone, and Tombstone takes note that things have changed. We then see Peter and Spider-Man come face to face. Peter tells Spidey he's not Spider-Man, and Spider-Man tells Peter he's not Peter. And that's where our issue ends. So lots to unpack in this issue. Something obviously has gone on, and we're dealing with, multiple spiders or Peters here. The flashback panel from page 1 is interesting. We see two different versions of a younger Peter. He's looking in the mirror, and it looks like the reflection is not what we see. So a little bit different there. Spider-Man has a red tint to his eyes, so almost portraying like he's a little bit evil, or obviously a different version of Spider-Man. And something's off both about Spider-Man and Peter's spider sense that we've seen, and certainly their attitude. And the question comes up, did Hellgate cause this? And if so, why? And we don't really have any details around that. I do feel like Joe Kelly, the writer Joe Kelly, is dropping breadcrumbs along the way, with these little flashbacks and little hints here and there with the spider sense and this red tint. But I haven't fully, put it together. I think obviously we're leading towards something and we're building. We just don't know all of the details as of yet. There are a lot of theories out there. Who's under the mask? Is it Ben Reilly? Could it be Norman Osborn? I'm not really sure. If anything, I would probably lean towards Norman Osborn. But the behavior doesn't add up with some of his recent changes, but you never know. Maybe if it is him, maybe it's the goblin in the back of his head coming out a little bit. But only time will tell. Overall, really not a bad issue. I do like the fact that Joe Kelly is using Spider-Man's supporting cast. I just feel a good Spider-Man story always has some of the, other players in Spider-Man's life, around or involved in the story. So I do really like what he's trying to build with J. Jonah, Black Cat, Robbie, Shay. We've seen MJ. We've seen Aunt May. So I do like that. And the artwork, Michael Dowling's artwork, very good. A nice little change of pace for me. I do enjoy that. So thinking about my 5 webhead review system, I'm going to go ahead and give issue 10 3 webheads out of 5. Overall, not a solid story, great art. We don't know all the details as of yet, and hopefully we'll get them soon and really understand what's going on. So that's my review. Let me know if you picked up issue 10 and what did you think of it if you read it. Story, artwork, where we're going with this, overall story. And if you're not reading it, I hope you enjoyed my review. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next video. If you didn't know, I'm also an indie comic book creator. Please follow my project's updates at ecscomics.com or on Instagram at ecs_comics, and that's comics with an X. I have successfully crowdfunded 2 books on Kickstarter, The Doctor #1 and The Doctor #2. The Doctor issue 3 is currently in progress, and you can follow the pre-launch page on Kickstarter now, as well as an art book project called Damsels of Halloween and Horror, which will be launching in September and features several comic book community artists. I'm also in the process of writing a new sci-fi story that will be coming soon. So please give ECS Comics a follow and get updates as they happen.